Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for our third training in our initial series for Directed Minnesota. This one is specific for high school counselors, and it is Direct Admissions Logistics and 101. So we're going to cover a couple of miscellaneous items. My name is Aaron Salsek, he, him pronouns. I am the Direct Admissions Coordinator for the program and your primary point person as you have questions as they arise over the course of the program year. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Sarah, for her introduction, followed by our third teammate, Sally.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sarah Burkhardt. I'm the Marketing and Communications Coordinator at the Office of Higher Education, and I support the Direct Admissions Program with marketing needs. So thanks for joining us today. And throw it over to Sally.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see you again or meet you for the first time. My name is Sally Constantine, she, they pronouns, and I am the Direct Admissions graduate research intern. I do most of the data processing.
Yeah, thanks, team. So to cover the agenda for today, as I said, it's a little bit of a miscellaneous agenda, but all of these are important components to the program. Some of which you can actually start in the next few weeks or so before the school year lets out. At each of these trainings, we have covered the general project overview and timeline. We feel that's important and critical to the success of the program. We will talk about components of building your local team today. Many of you have actually already indirectly started that through the application process, but we are going to revisit that today in the training. I will be sharing with you some college access resources, which are also a part of the ongoing college access conversation that many of you engage in your daily work. And then we'll spend some time really talking about the program marketing
today, so I'm
and
just
communications
counselors.
tools.
I'm not going to join it then for this meeting right now.
Oh, for the direct admission one? Okay,
Yeah,
yep,
so
I'm watching it, yeah.
That's what I heard.
Folks, if you are not
Counselors, so
muted,
I'm gonna
could
jump
you
off. I don't
please
think I really
mute?
need to be. I did the second one, but not the third one.
Okay, and I did the first one and I haven't watched the second one yet, but I'm on this one right now, so that's fine. I'll take notes and then if I feel like there's any.
All right, I found the mute button. And then we'll end with program marketing and communications, which Sarah will review those questions. So when we talk about direct admissions, when we talk about direct admissions, the essence of the program is extending proactive admission to students because we believe that they are college material. For our students, we want them to know that there are colleges and universities ready and willing to accept. And so again, the whole essence of it is at the outset of the fall, students get a personalized list of colleges and universities that are committed to admitting them. The list includes partners from all over Minnesota, all of the tribal, most of the tribal colleges, most of the University of Minnesota system, and all of the Minnesota state system, nearly all of the Minnesota private colleges and universities. The number of schools on a student's list depends on the academic tier that they are placed into, which is yielded from the unweighted cumulative GPA and core grades in the subject areas of English, math, and science through the end of a student's junior year. Those academic tiers are set across 6 levels, the most open access tier being 1, and the most selective tier being tier 6. There is no limit on the number of colleges and universities that a student could request proactive admission from. But what we are seeing here at the agency is around 7, which is well within the norm of what national behavior is in terms of the college selection process. Again, direct admissions applies to general admission to our colleges and universities. Conversations do still need to be had around selective program or major options, but that is why our post-secondary partners are so critical. Once the student accepts their offer of proactive admission, they can continue that dialogue with those college navigators moving forward. And this would apply for our juniors this year, your rising seniors who are on track to graduate in spring or summer of 2025. In terms of a macro level overview of the work, it's conducted in collaboration between you all, our secondary partners, OHE, our agency, and our post-secondary partners by 6 critical steps. High schools and colleges and universities opt in to participate in the program, and that is done after completing mandatory data sharing and joint powers agreements. For context, that was the subject of the first training. That training is recorded and available. It was sent to your primary point person for the program at your high school. Once high schools opt in to participate, at the outset of the program year is a Tennyson and FERPA notification, which goes out per your local processes. That is the point at which students' families or students themselves can opt out from the program, again, per your local data practices and data privacy processes. That then needs 7 to 10 business days, after which the academic review and the survey notification process can commence. High schools do notify parents and guardians by a number of communication vehicles of their preference. Nearly everybody is using email or within the student information system for the survey notification, but there are a few schools who choose to do letters or who choose to do events. And we'll talk about the various marketing channels that many of our partners from this past year have employed as a topic of today. Students then respond to those survey notifications and indicate their top colleges of interest. That data makes its way to our agency, and then we compile and then securely transmit it to those colleges of students' choice. At that point forward, colleges contact the students and continue the dialogue moving forward about any next steps, and they do this engagement early, well before many other college activities transpire over the regular admissions year. So in terms of the work locally at your high schools, that academic review, again, is comprised of the unweighted cumulative GPA and the course grades in those specific subject areas of English, science, and math to place students within their respective tier. High schools notify seniors and parents of their acceptance or their extended proactive admission, by which students can then explore and then make their college survey selection options. It is important to continue to prompt and nudge students to respond to the survey notifications. We do know that email is a useful tool, but it's a tool that still has to be interacted with. And so we're going to talk today largely about many of the tools that some of our high response rate high schools from this current year have a great effect. Those student responses are securely transmitted back to our agency. We then distribute it, as I mentioned it earlier. High schools do send transcripts to the colleges that students select. One note there is that is your local process. There are no changes or requirements of OHI of you in terms of that, that necessary step, but do know that you don't have to adjust your current practices at all. And then at any point through the year, if you have feedback or you're sort of noticing an emerging trend, just reaching out and letting the agency know, primarily myself, and then I'll work with the team so that we can be responsive and also get your feedback so that this program, as it spreads across the state, gets to its best possible iteration, because we all know how critical it is for our students and families. So we put that onus upon ourselves. For today, of those steps that we just discussed, there's really sort of 3 that are highlighted. The nudging and the reminders, transcripts, just broadly speaking, and then again, emphasizing that we're here for this partnership. Whenever you have feedback for us, please don't hesitate to reach out to our agency. Now, in terms of the work planning, deliverables are timed to specific points in the year. And so some of what we're actually going to be talking about today with the toolkit, when Sarah takes over, the direct admissions junior videos and so on, those can actually be shared before the school year is done. I will be reaching out to principals and superintendents and other sort of FERPA compliance folks that you all put on your applications to the program in the next week or so for the template data sharing and joint powers agreements that are under review by legal counsel. And then the other thing I just encourage you to do now is to just start familiarizing yourself with the marketing materials and the tools that OHI has put together from this past year of direct admissions, because that has really been informed by feedback from high school counselors. And so it's a lot of valuable resources. June through August, that sort of thinking through how to conduct the academic review and review process more broadly speaking can continue. You can start to order and share direct admissions promotional materials, or at least get prepped to do that in the fall for your high schools. And Sarah will talk about the ordering system a bit later today. And you can also prep that FERPA Tennyson notification that we mentioned at the outset of the listed tasks for high schools. By the way, if you're interested in that FERPA notification, that was also the subject of the first training in this series, which is recorded and available for your review as well. August through October is really sending those communication surveys out to folks so that students can respond, and then nudging, and reminding students and nudging them to reply. So again, as promised, this is sort of a miscellaneous training. There is not a great theme other than miscellanea. And so we're going to start with building your local team and roster. And so I just wanted to be transparent and candid with folks. This information is actually in the legislative report. But if I had to name one challenge to the program, it would honestly be gaps at the local level in the high school team. And so many of you have already completed the direct admissions application for the year. That was intentional. I want to thank you again for taking the time to do that, because, you know, when asking who your FERPA person is, who's your business manager, who's your counselor one, who's your counselor two, that was intentional. That was a reflective moment for you to really build out your team. When the program has challenges at the local level, it is usually due to staff changes. And so I just wanted to remind you that you've already put together your roster. The roster of folks that were asked in the application is really any who's going to touch the program at any point in the year, given where we're at in the program's life cycle. Your business manager will help with invoicing. Your FERPA compliance person will probably help at the outset of the program year, but you've already built your roster. And so that is one big step that you've already taken advantage of. That being said, when there is a change to staffing at your high schools, please reach out to our agency so that we can update that roster and make sure that folks who need to be in the know are in the know. We use that information to distribute the newsletter that Sarah will talk about later. We use that information to, when Sally and I have questions about data or quality assurance business need, we will reach out to your technology specialist. And so having that roster up to date is critical for our collective program success. I also had a personal goal of integrating a baseball analogy somewhere in the trainings. And so there's a baseball field. If you want to think about it differently, who's your manager? Who's on first base? Who's in the outfield? That is your team. As I've said, there are a lot of moving pieces to this program. This schema was put together for many trainings that we've done throughout the year, especially as we're talking with other folks about how to build direct admissions programs across the country. It's not meant to overwhelm you. It's meant to be a visual so you can see the complexity, but also because there are a lot of moving partners in this work. And so there's two advisory work groups that help inform the agency and what we do. And so, you know, at some point in time, if you have interest in serving on the K-12 work group, don't ever hesitate to reach out to me, because we're always looking for active members. Some of our best program ideas have come out of that work group. And so actually a lot of the videos that you'll see over time, a lot of the marketing materials that you'll see today, some of those were the direct thought work of that group that informs the agency. I firmly believe that this program is successful because it is a true partnership across all of these different realms. We have our K-12 SIS vendors, whom many of you work with, 5 across the state. By the way, our second training, which was also recorded and also available for your review, was conducted by Sally and I earlier in the week, and it was on building the data. So please be sure that your tech specialist has that recording. We will have a part 2 to those in early June. So I'll be reaching out to the primary direct admissions point person at your high school soon with those dates. As many of you know, we're engaged in this right now. There's your districts, there's your individual high schools, there's the post-secondary partners, the higher ed systems, as well as all the various 55 participating colleges and universities. And all of this is to probably the most paramount partner in this whole work, that cornerstone, which is highlighted in green, are students and parents and families whom we serve across the state of Minnesota. So again, just want to extend gratitude for you for joining the program this year. It is work, but it's worthwhile work. Our next miscellaneous topic. I had gotten some questions recently about college fit factoring, and this is not meant to supplement any of the wonderful college access events that you all do, which I remember from my many years in college admissions. It's not meant to overtake any resources. It's meant to just add to. It's additive. And so this slide really has a few resources that are pretty specific to the college search process. The first two URLs, which again, this PowerPoint will be sent with the recording probably by no later than tomorrow afternoon. The two OHI resources, the first one is just our agency website. Office of Higher Education is a cabinet level agency that helps you all in promoting college access. And so familiarize yourself with our broad website. But the second one from our Google Drive is actually specific to college checklists. You know, so if you're looking for like a checklist at any grade, 9th, 10th, 11th, etc., check out that second resource. We all are members of many professional organizations, and so I just want to say that I'm not intentionally trying to have preferential treatment for two of them that I'm going to mention in a second. I'm sure there's tons of them. ACRO, I know we have our local ASCA affiliates. But there are a few that the National Association for College Admission Counseling has put together, which is a senior and a junior year checklist. And the National College Access Network has also put together some phenomenal access grounded resources as well. So these are all hyperlinked here. We will probably put some of these resources together in the toolkit, which Sarah will cover those components of the toolkit in a little bit when we get to that portion of the presentation, which is actually sooner than later. All right, Sarah, take it away.
All right. Yeah, so now we're going to go on to marketing and communications and events. So yeah, you can go on to the next slide here, Aaron. So yeah, we're just going to review a couple of our existing marketing channels. So Aaron mentioned this before, but we do have our main direct admissions landing page. This links to all our participating high schools, so we will be updating that for the 24-25 school year. Our list of participating colleges and universities, some legislative background, reporting information, and just links to other resources. So that's a good resource to start with the landing page. And then we also have our current Google Drive toolkit. It contains all of our toolkit information from 23-24. So we will be updating that over the summer, but I did link that in the chat if you guys just want to poke around in there and just kind of see what's available right now. And then yeah, we have our current printed marketing materials. So that includes a front and back fact sheet that was designed for students. And then we also have a direct admissions high school poster, which is featured on the slide here to the right. And yeah, we have a bunch of different translations for the fact sheet. Currently, we have it translated into Hmong, Karen, Korean, Somali, Spanish, and Vietnamese. And then the poster is translated into Hmong, Spanish, and Somali. And we'll get a little bit more into translations a little bit later. And then we also have our agency's YouTube channel that has a lot of training material, like Aaron mentioned before. You can reference that back just to any training or session that we're running. They'll be posted on this channel that you can review later on or share with just fellow staff. And then, yeah, just monthly program updates and emails. You'll get those from Aaron. And they'll just be monthly updates just to keep everybody on track. And then that just kind of brings us to the new resource that we'll talk about. And that's the marketing newsletter toolkit. You can go on to the next slide, Aaron. Yeah, so we'll start with increased awareness. So the goal of this program is to eventually move it statewide. So we're just ramping up an awareness of the program at different events, conferences to just help promote the program and encourage awareness just among educators across the state. So that, yeah, that includes the Minnesota School Counselors Association annual conference, MACAC education fairs, regional counselor convenings, and just other opportunities to spread the word. And yeah, that brings us to some of our new resources. So we're currently building out just new resource materials based on feedback from our currently participating high schools. And I'll just start by talking about just various different landing pages for website redesign that we're doing. So we have our current website landing page, but we're redesigning some different landing pages to be tailored to each audience. So one exciting piece that I'll start with is the Direct Admission Student Center. And that's going to feature video content, testimonials from students, next steps that students can follow after they receive their letter. We really want to promote just agency with students, just so they know how to move forward in the direct admissions process. So we just want to provide a really nice landing page where students can kind of easily navigate through content. And then so you as high school counselors can have a link that can be shared with students. So it'll be a good resource just to provide to them just for more information. You can provide it to parents as well. And then an exciting piece with the Student Center, we're developing a college communication timeline. So we're just gathering information from the colleges so students know exactly what to expect from the colleges that they're interested in. So after that initial response in their survey, then they know what they can expect from the colleges. They can check this landing page website just to see when they'll hear back from St. Kate's or the University of Minnesota Rochester, whatever college they selected, and what they can kind of expect after that initial communication. And then just other pieces that will feature will be like the My Higher Ed College Search Tool, just some college exploration resources for students, financial aid information, and just other pieces that will help students as they're kind of deciding on their college search and moving forward with the direct admissions process. And then we'll also have a landing page for high school counselors and high school staff specifically. And this is where you will go just for different timelines, checklists, type of materials. It'll contain a lot of information from our current manual, links to just the Google toolkit pieces. And then again, with the college communication timeline, but more tailored toward the counselor's lens. So you guys know exactly what to expect from the colleges. And if a student asks you a question, then you kind of have guidance on what you can expect from the colleges. And then lastly, with another landing page that we're working on is for the college partner audience as well. And then, yeah, just moving on to new video content. We are going to be building out more content on our YouTube channel and then also for those landing pages. But these content pieces will be more for the student audience, just different videos about Minnesota financial aid programs, FAFSA, Minnesota Dream Act, why that's important to fill out, what students should do after they open their letter, what kind of steps do they need to take, as well as, yes, student testimonials. And we'll also be producing like an administrator and counselor testimonial video as well. So more to come on that, but yeah, we're working on a bunch of different new video content that, yeah, just from what we've heard from high schools that they're wanting to share. And yeah, and then that leads me to the new monthly marketing toolkit newsletter. So this was just sent out last week, just to primary and secondary direct admissions contacts. And I will add a link directly to this newsletter as well. You can add yourself if you want to forward it on to any other staff, that maybe a communication staff member, anybody else in your district that is interested in receiving this. You can add yourself to the list. But the resources in this newsletter, in this initial May newsletter, is more for the high school junior audience, just to start sharing information about the program, what they can kind of expect to get in the fall. Yeah, so we will be moving forward monthly. At the beginning of each month, you'll receive a new marketing newsletter that will contain more of like a checklist style timeline, what you should be doing during that month, just different reminders and pieces that you can take to plug into a newsletter, plug into your social media, different video resources, and so on. So yeah, and then moving on to the new College Conversation series. This is kind of a new webinar resource that we're going to be developing. So just about different topics. Hopefully we can have some guest speakers about just from colleges, just covering different topics that we've heard from current high school that they would just like a little bit more information on, just to provide to students. And then we are expanding on just different resources to share information about the program. So an additional poster, we'll have an underclassmen brochure actually, that a picture of it is featured on the next slide. That will be more for the 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade audience to just kind of introduce them to what direct admissions is if they want to start preparing early. That's just something we've heard from current high schools that they kind of want something to share with the younger audience as well, just to get them prepared. So yeah, you can see that on the far right there, there's a preview of it. And then on the far left is just a translated version of the poster we have just in Somali. And then you can kind of see a visual here with one of the translated fact sheets. It's a front and back fact sheet for students. Yeah, and then just about the printed marketing materials. So here's just a list of the currently translated printed items that we have available. You can order any of these translated materials just according to what your school needs. And then if you do have a significant language need at your school that is not currently provided, then just please feel free to contact us and we can have a conversation about it. We do have digital versions available that you can see on the right here. Yeah, but yeah, we're open to conversation for additional translations. Yeah, and so just feel free to either reach out to Erin or myself. And yeah, we can move forward with that. And the next slide. These are just some internal marketing ideas, just what we've heard from current high schools, just so you guys can kind of have a idea of just different avenues that you can use to promote the program. We will be providing this in more of a succinct way, just in the marketing toolkit and newsletters with the checklist and just some ideas. But yeah, just so you guys can just kind of have an idea of just currently what some high schools are using just to promote the program. And all these are optional avenues, but yeah, it's great to just kind of have some ideas about how to promote the program. And then we can go on the next slide. Yeah, so then just navigating the toolkit, these are just different pieces that we had in the May 2024 toolkit. So we had some digital flyers for the high school juniors and parents that you can download the PDFs. We have the translated versions. The video resource is probably one of the most prominent items that really gives a great introduction about what direct admissions is, what students can expect. So I know a lot of high schools like to link that in either the class of 2025 newsletter, just any kind of Google Classroom if you guys use that. Just any sort of way that you want to use the link. There is some sample video text that you can just copy and paste and move on to any kind of avenue that you would like. And then, yeah, just some general, just newsletter and social media content pieces. And we provide the graphics and just the text that you can just kind of plug and play into whatever format that you want. And then just going on to ordering the actual print materials. So we will be sending out an email in July, probably again in August when everyone kind of starts returning for the school year. We are using a new system for ordering materials, which would be our Bolger ordering system. And some of you may be familiar already if you currently order any of our Office of Higher Education publications, including Choosing a College, Paying for College, the suite of 4 publications. It will be the same ordering system. So we'll provide the link and then you can just go in and search your high school name. And then you can go on to the next slide, Erin. So you can just search your high school name. I put Columbia Heights as just a example here, and you'd be able to select that. Your password will be your school's zip code to move forward with that. And then there will be just a link where you can, it says organizations, click here where you can view the item catalog, and then we'll have the fact sheets, different translated fact sheets, posters, just different materials that you can order, and you can enter in the number of whatever amount will be appropriate for your students. And then you can just proceed into the cart and go into checkout. And you can also just track the shipping of your order. Usually they ship within like 2 or 3 business days. But you can just keep track of it and see when they'll be arriving. And yeah, it's a much easier system than we had previously. So hopefully this will be easy for everybody to submit their orders.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Lots of good content. So as promised, that was our miscellaneous training for today. We covered a lot of ground from building your local roster and team, various marketing channels, and so on and so forth. My contact information is there for you. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions at any point in time. And just wanted to close by extending gratitude for the work that you do in our high schools and in our communities. We know this is a beneficial program for students and families, and we're really excited to have you on board for the fall 2024 to 2025 program year. Thanks everybody for being in attendance today. We appreciate you and are thankful for all that you do.